What's up YouTube, it's Nick from Rise at Sports and I'm back with another video. Today, I'm doing something a little different, but it's current, it's a hot topic right now. It is almost March Madness time. I'm going to break down a couple conferences and what I think they're going to do in their tournament. So this week is tournament week, as you all know. And so I'm going to go through a couple conferences. I'm going to do 6 conferences here. I know there's a ton of college basketball conferences, so if you want me to do any more, let me know. By the time this comes out, though, their conference tournament might already be underway or over. So let me know as quickly as possible. This is coming out on Tuesday, so some of the conferences will already be underway. But regardless, we're here. So without further ado, let us go. All right, first one, Big 12. Big 12 has been the best basketball conference in college this year by far. You've had teams like Baylor and Kansas and Texas, TCU, and even Kansas State, or I guess I should have flipped that. Kansas State and even TCU be really, really good. This conference is loaded. There are a couple not so good teams, but we've seen teams like West Virginia and Oklahoma State and Texas Tech win some really tough games against some good opponents. So I can't, click to move on or anything. It'd be so cool if you could do it, but there's no way to do that. But I'll go to the first round here. So the first round, they have 10 teams, so they do 8-9 and then 7-10, and then it goes to the next round. So I think that's pretty cool. It's also very interesting to see how different conferences do their tournament. It's not the same in each conference, as y'all will see as we go on. First game, West Virginia, Texas Tech. This one is interesting because I've seen both of these teams beat tougher teams before. Texas Tech has looked good at certain points. West Virginia has looked good at certain points. And I'm going to preface this by saying I don't know every college team, and I'm not even sure, certain players on each team, because I know Terrence Shannon used to play at Texas Tech. Now he's at Illinois. Like Matthew Mayer, I think that's his name, Matthew Mayer, whatever. Played at Baylor last year. He's at Illinois now too. So there's a lot of moving parts. So just bear with me. I don't know college sports as well as I know the NFL. Not saying I'm great at the NFL either, but regardless, West Virginia and Texas Tech. I'm gonna say that West Virginia gets it done. West Virginia has looked better, I think, as of late. They beat, I can't remember if it was, I think it might have been Kansas State that West Virginia just beat. Hold on, let me check, because I know they just beat somebody. But yes, I was right. West Virginia just beat Kansas State. I'm going to take Kansas State here. Sorry, West Virginia here. I think they will move on to play Kansas. Oklahoma State, Oklahoma. Crazy how it's Oklahoma versus Oklahoma State in this one. Oklahoma State is a better team, though. I don't think Oklahoma has been good all year. Don't expect them to get past the first round here. Then if you go, let's go top to bottom. Baylor, Iowa State's an interesting one. Iowa State just beat Baylor, and they're going to have to play again. This time I think Baylor will get it done, though. Baylor is a better team overall. They just have a more talented roster, a better coach, in my opinion. Baylor's a better team. I think Baylor will get it done and move on. Kansas, which I think Kansas will play West Virginia. Either way, Kansas is not losing. Kansas will beat whoever they play. So I'm going to take it where it will be Kansas-Baylor, which will be a really fun matchup. Then we would have Texas, Oklahoma State, or Texas, Oklahoma. Texas, again, is a way more talented team than either one of those teams. Don't expect an upset here. I fully expect Texas to beat either Oklahoma State or Oklahoma. Kansas State, TCU. This one could be a shocker, but I think with Marquise Noel on that team and at Kansas State, and with Marquise Noel and Keontae Johnson, I don't expect Kansas State to lose this one. I'm going to take Kansas State, so all favorites here. Then it would be Kansas versus Baylor. Kansas is a better team than Baylor. I think Kansas is one of the best teams in the country. I don't expect them to lose. I think Baylor will fall Kansas there. And then what I would think would be Texas, Kansas State. I could see Kansas State winning this one, but I think Texas is a more talented team. I would take Texas to win, and it would be Kansas, Texas final. and I would take Kansas to win. I think this is pretty much chalk. I don't see really much upset potential in the later rounds. Um, first round I could see it happening. I just don't know enough about these teams to really know. So I'm gonna take Kansas to win the Big 12 tournament. Next one, I'm a little quicker here. I went really slow through that. Next one, SEC. We're gonna start Ole Miss, South Carolina. We can see the records here. Both teams are really bad. I'm gonna take South Carolina to win to beat Ole Miss. LSU and Georgia. Both teams again very bad, but Georgia is a better team than LSU. LSU has absolutely been terrible this year. Second round, it would be Mississippi State, Florida. Florida, I will take to win that one. Don't know a ton about either of these teams, to be honest, but I'll take Florida. Then it would be Tennessee versus whoever. I don't think it matters. Tennessee would beat whoever, I think, out of that bunch. Arkansas, Auburn. This one I actually could see Arkansas pulling off the upset. I'm gonna take Arkansas. This is gonna be my first upset pick. I think Arkansas will beat Auburn there, and then it would be Vanderbilt versus either LSU, Georgia. It doesn't matter. Vanderbilt will move on. Then we get Alabama versus either Mississippi State or Florida. I picked Florida. Alabama's not losing to either of those teams. Just not talented enough, I don't think, to beat them. Then it would be Tennessee, Missouri. I think Tennessee would beat Missouri in that matchup. Tennessee has a really good defense, and Missouri has looked good all year, but this one's a tough one. I'll beat Tennessee. I would pick Arkansas to beat Auburn. So if it was Arkansas A&M, I would definitely go with A&M here. But it could end up being Arkansas or Auburn, so who knows. And then Vanderbilt to play Kentucky. I think Kentucky is hot at the right time. I think Kentucky would win that. And then it would be an Alabama-Tennessee semifinals. I think Alabama would cruise to a victory. Now, Tennessee played them tough and beat Alabama. So, who knows what would happen in round 2, or I guess round 3. They played each other twice. But Alabama, I think, would win. And then you'd have a Kentucky A&M final. I think Kentucky's just hot at the right time. I see Kentucky beating A&M and moving on to the final. And then Alabama, Kentucky. Be a tough one. I think Alabama would win it, though. I don't really see Kentucky or A&M beating Alabama if it got down to it, but that's what I would take. Let's go on. We're gonna do ACC. This is not as good of a conference this year, unfortunately. But first game, I'm gonna take Florida State over Georgia Tech. I'll take Boston College over Louisville. Louisville is literally one of the worst teams in all of college basketball this year. Virginia Tech, Notre Dame. I'm not sure why it says 3-17. Is Notre Dame really that bad? Maybe this is just in conference play. I'll take Virginia Tech either way. Syracuse, Wake Forest. Don't know really anything about either of these teams, but I'll take the Cuse because they're Syracuse. And then I would take Pitt. I could see Florida State upsetting Pitt, but I'm going to take Pitt there. North Carolina versus whoever. I think North Carolina, when it comes down to it, they're gonna be up there, I think. So I'm gonna take Carolina there, and then I'll take NC State, Virginia Tech. Going from the top, Miami versus whoever. Miami's gonna win, and then you have Duke there. I would say against Pittsburgh. I'm gonna take Duke again. Virginia, Carolina would be an interesting one. I might even take North Carolina to beat Virginia. No, that sounds crazy. Virginia is a really good team. Hey man, I'm kind of on last year's train with North Carolina, so I'm going to take Carolina there, and then Clemson, NC State. NC State's a good team. What the heck? Let's take NC State over Clemson, and then it would be it would be Miami and Duke. I like Duke. I'm going to take Duke. I think Duke is hot at the right time as well. I'll take Duke to get to the championship game. And then I would take, it would be North Carolina and NC State, 2 underdogs in this region of this bracket. I'm going to take North Carolina. Let's have a Duke, North Carolina round 3. And who would I take? I'd probably take Duke there. That was kind of a wild take. Whatever. Who cares? Let's go on to I believe this is the Pac-12. Washington, Colorado. Let's take Washington here. Washington State versus Cal. Don't see Cal winning this one. Let's go Washington State. Utah, Stanford. Utah. And then Arizona State, Oregon State. I think Arizona State wins. Then let's go UCLA, Washington. UCLA is really good. They're a really talented team. Then Washington State, California, or we already did that one. Washington State, Oregon. Oregon is a really good team. They've played a lot of good opponents this year and have been pretty good. And then Utah against Arizona. Arizona wins this one easy. Then USC versus Arizona State. Let's take USC. I know it's all favorites, but whatever. It is what it is. Then UCLA, Oregon. I don't see Oregon beating UCLA right now. I don't really see very many teams beating UCLA right now. And then we would do Arizona, USC. Again, don't see really anybody beating USC, so I'll take Arizona. And then UCLA. UCLA has looked better than Arizona, so I'll take UCLA. I know it's pretty much chalk. Doesn't matter to me. I think that's a lot of what conference tournaments are. A lot of times it's chalk. There's not a whole lot of upsets. Sometimes there are, but other times there's not. Okay, let's see. Ohio State, Wisconsin first here. Wisconsin, I think, is a better team. And then Minnesota, Nebraska. Nebraska, I'm going to take just because I don't really know any of these teams at all. Because I don't watch all of college basketball. I watch some, though. Let's see. Then we would go Rutgers, Michigan to play Purdue. This is interesting. This is a really good 8-9 matchup to me because they both have really talented teams. I'm going to take Rutgers to beat Michigan here. I think it's important. It's an important game for both teams. I think Rutgers beats Michigan there. And it'll be Iowa to me versus Wisconsin. Give me Iowa. Iowa's a better team. Penn State, Illinois. I'm going to take Illinois there. Illinois is a really good team as well. And then let's go Maryland to beat Nebraska. Then from the top, Rutgers versus Purdue. And Rutgers beat Purdue again. I don't know. Probably not Purdue. I'll take there. Iowa versus, who would that be? Wisconsin. Did I already do that one? Yeah, I did. So we're further along. Iowa, Michigan State. To me, this one could go either way as well. I'm going to take Iowa to beat Michigan State. And then Northwestern versus Illinois. Interesting. It's another interesting one. I could see Illinois putting up the upset. They have a really talented group with Terrence Shannon and Michael. I always say Michael. It's Matthew Meyer. I'm going to take Illinois to upset Northwestern. That might be a really hot take, but I'm going to take Illinois to beat them. And then Maryland. Right? Yeah, Maryland and Indiana. I'm going to take Indiana. Trace Jackson Davis and Hood Schifino are really talented. A really talented duo, I must say. Purdue and Michigan State. I think Purdue will beat Michigan State. And then I'm going to take Illinois and Indiana. Who would I take there? Probably Indiana. I don't see Indiana losing. And then it would be Purdue, Indiana. And I think Indiana would beat Purdue. I don't see Indiana losing. I know Purdue has lost them twice. It's hard to lose to a team 3 times in a row. I'm going to take Indiana, though. And then lastly, we're not doing some of the conferences you might think for the 6th one. We're doing the American because they're the team that my favorite team's in. So we're going with them, as you can see. I'm really into March Madness this tournament especially. I might actually be at this tournament. We will see. Let's go East Carolina, South Florida for the American Conference. I know more about this conference than any of them just because I have watched a lot of these games. South Florida, East Carolina. South Florida is a way better team to me than East Carolina. So I'm going to take South Florida there. Just because they played Houston really tight when they played in Houston. I was at that game. It was a really intense game. I think South Florida overall is a better team, even though they probably have worse nights. SMU, UCF. UCF is a way better team than SMU. Not really even close. And then Tulsa, Wichita State. Again, same deal. Tulsa is one of the worst college basketball teams right now. So I'm going to take Wichita State. Houston, South Florida. I think Houston will find a way to beat South Florida, even though I don't think this game will be easy, but I do expect Houston. Temple, Cincinnati. This game could go either way. I think both of these teams are really talented, and really a lot of these teams will not get the recognition just because they're in the American Conference. But these teams are both really good. Temple obviously knocked off Houston in Houston. Terrible game for me to watch, but that's what happened. Cincinnati has played Houston twice and played them tough both times. Um, to me, though, I think it comes down to the guard play of Temple. I think Temple will win this game just because I think Temple has the guard play that if their guards are hitting their shots, it is impossible to stop them. So I'm going to take Temple to win that game. And then we got UCF Memphis. This game could go either way, but I don't see Memphis losing. Memphis is a tough out. And then Tulane versus Wichita State. This one could be a shocker. I think Wichita State is a really good team, but Tulane I think is a better team. They have better overall players. And then it would be Houston Temple. I'm going to take Houston. That would be another tough game. Houston really does have a tough road, I believe, to get to the championship because South Florida is a really tough 8 seed and Temple is another really tough 5 seed. But I would take Houston to beat Temple again for the second time out of 3 games. And then we have down at the bottom Memphis versus Tulane. Again, another tough game for me to pick. I'm going to take Memphis, though. I think Memphis will get back, and it will be a Memphis-Houston rematch for the 3rd time. Can Memphis knock off Houston? I don't think so. I think Houston will win. It'll be a tough game. It'll be a battle, but I think Houston will win the American. So going back through it, I think Houston will win the American. I think Indiana will win the Big Ten. Wow, I almost had a stroke. UCLA, I think, will win the Pac-12. Yeah, that's what I'm on, right? And then I think that Duke will win the ACC. I think Alabama will win the SEC, and I think finally, I think Kansas will win the Big 12. So those are kind of my 6 conference winners. I think another one would be, I think Gonzaga will win their conference. I don't even remember what their conference is. Sorry, I don't, but I think Gonzaga will win their conference over St. Mary's. And that will do it for me. I know this is a super long video. Took way too long, but I could have made it into different videos, but I wanted to get them all out at once. So I'm going to do this all at once. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching and sticking with me. If y'all have any opinions, let me know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next Rise of Sports.